All right, today I am thrilled to announce my newest music release. It's titled Bite the Air and it has 6 songs, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It's on Spotify and all major streaming services. Definitely check it out. I put my heart and soul into this, and today I wanted to talk about it with you. Lots of blood and sweat went into this, no tears. I also wanted to share the process, the thoughts behind it, everything, to hopefully inspire you to go out and make something.
The engine creaks while pistons kick, injectors speak.
So let me retrospect, and the first thing I want to talk about is just how exciting it was to be incorporating lyrics into the music I write. And this is special because I wasn't the one singing on this. Now, I've been a fan of Vocaloid and stuff like that for a super long time. I am kind of a big nerd, as you could tell, because I've released a whole bunch of video game music in the past, and I nerd out about guitars online. So shocker on Shock Street for sure, but I use several voice banks for the lyrics for the vocals in Synth V2 and Vocaloid throughout the writing process. And I did write more songs than ended up on this release. Is it an album? Is it an EP? There's 6 songs? I don't know. Comment down below. But I did write a whole bunch of songs, then I narrowed it down just to what I hope are the best ones. And of these, the ones that had the Synth V2 voice banks in it, those made the cut. So sorry, Miku, no Vocaloid. Not yet, anyway. But the voice banks I used were Kasane Teto, Megpoid Gumi, and Havoc, spelled with an X, of course. And these were pivotal because the amount of control the technology offered on the vibrato, on the phoneme timing, the breath timing, all of that was really key. And I found Teto and Gumi both had their strengths. It was really interesting learning about these voice banks as I used them basically in a trial by fire. I was fresh to the technology. I did make that April Fool's song basically right before April, but that was just okay, let's try this out and go. This release here was the basically first time I was using these in actual serious songs. And I'll talk about the songs themselves and their genres and all that in a second, but it's probably going to come up which one did I prefer better. And yeah, they both had their strengths and weaknesses, but that's the safe answer. This is the internet. You have to pick one for some reason. So I would say Teto. Her voice just suited my writing style the best. Now the songs, I wrote a huge list of songs that are in various states of half finished, spanning a lot of genres. Of course, there's a bunch of rock on this album, some metal too. We'll get into that. But I also branched out to things like bossa nova, some electronic. Would you like to hear those eventually? I got to go back and work on those. But this was a fun exercise, and I really felt like I grew as a writer, a music writer, doing this. I wasn't really used to writing lyrics. Naturally, I've been doing guitar instrumental music for a lot of years now. So doing this, adding these vocals, writing original lyrics, really added some depth to the writing process. A depth that I tried my best to swim through. I wanted to pick profound and meaningful topics that aren't typically covered in pop songs, but now that I said this, there's going to be guys jumping out from behind the bushes saying there's like 5 million pop songs written about these things. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't sound too pretentious. At the end of the day, it was a really rewarding way to push my brain in new ways, trying to come up with these lyrics, come up with all these harmonies, the melodies, thinking about things like what would human breath, where would that come in? Of course, it's a good idea to space out your ideas on lead guitar, let it breathe here and there, unless you're really going for some high density shredding part, but you know what I mean. Trying to keep things somewhat feasible, but I did take a lot of creative liberty and push the technology at the same time. And it was really refreshing writing a vocal top line instead of trying to have lead guitar go the whole time. There are some guitar solos on the album in like a few songs. I wasn't trying to have that be the centerpiece, the crown jewel of this whole thing. Really, it's about the vocals and then the music production behind it. Of course, favoring guitar, because that is the best instrument, I think, personally, because I play it. Now, I want to say that doing less guitar solos means it was less effort, but in retrospect, that's not entirely true. It took longer to do the vocals and the writing behind that. And that's partly because I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to doing lead guitar, guitar solos, things like that. but also the time writing and rewriting the lyrics, making sure I'm not putting something out there that's absolutely terrible. I did take an iterative process, get some placeholder lyrics in, and go back, refine them again, fix the harmonies again. It was a whole process. And then there's trying to figure out the signal chain for the vocals, learning vocal processing. I do talk into a microphone for this. I do have just a little bit of stuff to make my voice sound decent, mainly some compression to make sure I'm not peaking, but nothing fancy. There's no EQ or anything on this. Learning how to do that for the vocals, the EQ, all the various effects, what an exciter was, dynamic filters. It was a learning process. And did I get it perfect? Well, who knows? I did my best, and I hope you enjoy how it sounded. I hope you enjoy the end result. Now, about the songs, and maybe this is the moment you've been waiting for, talking about the music behind it, the instrumental. And most of these, except one song, were written while I was recovering from inflamed tendons. I went a bit too hard on the last music release. I ended up writing 26 songs in total, and 6 made the final cut. I was really spending the time recovering, just writing at every possible moment to distract myself from, not being able to play guitar for a little bit. And I did branch out from my usual metal, but that being said, there is a definite dedicated metal song on this. And of course, it's a 2000s metalcore type of song, and it's one of those 578 type of songs. So naturally, I named it 578 AD, pun absolutely intended. It's a fairly straightforward metal song like that with some clean breaks and the like added in. I wanted it to have a big chorus that someone could sing along to. So I have just a whole bunch of harmonies, and I used Havoc's voice in there too. It's not just Teto singing. I used his vocals for the growls too. I kind of wanted to have that kind of trade-off where, back in the day you'd have bands where you'd have one singer and one screamer and they'd go back and forth. And then the guitar work is the classic, 578 riffing like that. I think you can hear it in your head as you're thinking about it, and then you'll go listen to the song and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. It was a lot of fun to do. If you want to see a guitar playthrough, let me know. Maybe I'll get to that eventually. Moving on to the other songs, though, I was experimenting with new things, not just the vocals, but new guitar tones and effects too, like fuzz. I haven't really used fuzz before until the writing process of this release. I have a song on there called Exit 1, and that's interesting because for the distorted, the heavy parts, it has fuzz.
Of the living, imitated by the night. Vapors of phantoms are all that we have got. Show that you are living, broad spectrum held high. All that we mastered, it's all that we are.
And it uses solely just a Telecaster in standard tuning, which is unusual. Unusual because I'm using a guitar typically like this that has humbuckers. I'm on the bridge setting, full on distortion. It's in drop C, a very awesome tuning for 6 strings. Or sometimes I use a guitar like this, an extended range guitar. So using a Tele in standard isn't really typical from me, but I don't hate them. I like how they sound, and I hope you like how it sounded in the song too. So using fuzz was interesting. I'm not really used to how that sounds. I had to think about, okay, how do I dial in the tone? I used the Neural DSP Archetype Rabia. This video is not sponsored. That's just the plugin I had that had fuzz on it, and I think it turned out okay. I think it turned out well. I hope you like it too. But it was a combination of heavy, and I was using more single notes, but there are some chords in there. And at the end of the song, I really tried to go for something that was chaotic yet melodic. I didn't want it to be just noise. I wanted to go with the whole kind of, I want to say it was like a waltz theme, but really that's just because I wrote this song in 3/4. And naturally the Tele is good on the clean parts too. I used the neck pickup. I'm a fan of that tone. Moving on from that, there's a song called The Murk on this release. And that's an interesting one. It has kind of a history. The original riff was written, I wrote that decades ago, and so now I wanted to bring it fully to life in an official release. And for some reason, it seemed to want to become some kind of blues thing, and I'm not a blues musician. I did my best to put a 12-bar blues guitar solo in there, but I am a metal kid at heart, so it's interesting. I did it on a Stratocaster. It's in drop C. It's kind of a lower gain tone.
But a spark and pressure make my heart go back. Combustion captures how it feels to live like this each day by day.
And it became this thing that I don't know what you would call it. Is it country metal? Is it rock? Is it blues themed? And then is it alternative? There's this like alternative bit at the end. I don't know what to call it, but I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. There's another song called Pocket Universe that is this choral piece. It was one of the first things I wrote with the vocal software. I really wanted to see the capabilities of it. So I have a whole bunch of voices. I tried my best to write some decent harmonies.
Behind the glass wall, fog encroaches on my dreams. I cannot seem to see
It's fully a cappella. There's no backing instruments. And yes, I was shamelessly just overusing a new tool. So I hope you like it. Another song on the release is titled Never Finished. And I wanted to name it something a bit more clever, but that's the title that just stuck. And I don't want to share the meaning of the lyrics with anyone. I think, music art is something that the listener should get their own meaning from. I think that's what makes it the most enjoyable. But I will say this is the song that was the most inspired by the recovery process from my injury. And so because of that, yes, there's guitar on it, but there's a lot of elements that I wouldn't normally use as drastically as much. So there's a lot of VSTs, there's a lot of electronic stuff. And in the end, it goes into more full guitar production. It all goes with the theme of the lyric subject matter. And the use of fuzz at the end is symbolic of that, finding a new way forward from recovery. And then I think the only song left that I haven't talked about is Karst, and that's an interesting one too, because I had originally written it back in 2020. It just never materialized though. I fell into the trap of writing this thing and wanting it to be this grand thing, this big concept album. I kept writing and writing day after day. I would go back to the guitar profile and I'd add, what if there's an electronic part here? What if this kept on going? What if there's a little solo? What if there's a vocal break? And I added so much that it was just impossible to get started on. And this was before I had gotten into the flow, before I established the workflow of the music I've been making this decade. So it was too ambitious of a project, never got off the ground. I'm glad I could finally do something about that and make it into a song. I shortened it, cut it down to just the essentials, wrote some actual lyrics for it, and got it done.
Time will run and sand will spiral downward.
So some overall thoughts on this. This was quite the adventure. From injury to recovery to learning new software, new tools, to pushing my mixing and mastering skills beyond their limits. I tried my best. Definitely a learning process. I'm not a pro audio engineer by any means. Adding in vocals like this was a brand new challenge. I have done some cover songs with my own vocals like once or twice, but nothing as involved as this. Now, I say this every time I release an album or collection of songs, but moving forward, I think I should just do like singles or 2-song releases just to keep things going. It was a huge effort putting all these together, especially after the last release. I wanted to get these out as soon as possible, but not too soon. I didn't want to rush it. But why not release these songs one by one? And the answer is twofold. One, I was still learning the vocal software. So I'd do a song, move on to the next one. And as I would do that, I'd then go back to the one I had just made and realize, I needed to fix up these things in the vocals, needed to add some vibrato here, needed to tone it down there, maybe fix a harmony there, or change a harmony. I'd switch between using thirds, sixths, fourths. There was no one size fit all, and I'd have to keep going back and listen to it and think, okay, actually here, this word needs to be changed. This should be a different note. This timing should be different. Or these phonemes should be changed to sound more like a native speaker. Part of the challenge of this too is because I speak English natively, trying to get this to sound less like a machine reading a dictionary. I'd have to really stop and think sometimes. It's like, wait, how do I pronounce the word and? There's a lot of learning there. I understand that, especially in music, done is better than perfect. But there was a certain bar I would want to reach before releasing this. I don't think these songs are perfect by any means. I don't think that's possible to achieve a perfect song. But I did want to put my best foot forward. And then the other reason why I didn't release these songs one by one is because I did want to release something of an experience. I don't mean to be, again, pretentious saying experience, but I wanted a collection of songs that had various topics. I wanted to explore a part of humanity, some emotions that, again, might not necessarily be in a pop song. And so the album was originally going to be an album, not a 6-song release thing. It was going to have more songs, and I was going to call it multiphasic because there would be more genres, but I did cut it down just to the best ones. That's how the writing process goes. Overall, I'm thrilled to be able to share these 6 songs with you. Even if you listen to each of them one time, or one of them once, or one of them for 6 seconds, it would mean the world to me if you gave my passion project a little attention, and I'd appreciate it very much. Even if just one person finds any significant meaning in any of these songs, I would be in disbelief, but I would be grateful. I'd be glad that I could share these songs with you. So let me know what you think. If you've gotten this far through the video, thank you for listening to me yapping about my passion project. I would have never believed anything like this would be possible when I first started playing guitar years ago. And hopefully this inspires you to go create something too. Thank you for watching.